of the book of John. Two disciples of John the Baptist, Andrew and Peter, from Bethsaida, heard John speak the words, "Behold, the Lamb of God." Andrew had told Peter that they had found the Messiah, the Christ, and they were seen by Jesus as they followed him. And they had also heard the voice from heaven that said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." And they had seen that beautiful white dove come and land upon the shoulder of Jesus. They were amazed. They had been following John the Baptist, who was this very strange man that had come out of the desert. And they said that he'd been eating locusts and wild things, and that he was a wild thing. But he'd come out of the desert to do something very special, for he was the cousin of Jesus. Now, Andrew and Peter were from Bethsaida. And when they had heard these words, "Behold, the Lamb of God," they turned and they saw this amazing person, Jesus, walk towards them. And Andrew had told Peter that they had found the Messiah, and this must be the Messiah that he spoke of. Now Jesus came and said to Peter, "You are Simon, the son of Jonah. Now you're going to be called Cephas," which is interpreted a stone. Now, again, this was a prophetic word that Jesus had spoken, because Jesus, obviously, as God, he had the omniscient power of God to know what was going to happen in the life of Peter, this simple fisherman. Now, they answered and said, "Rabbi," which means master, "where do you live? Where do you come from?" And Jesus looked at them, probably smiling, a little bit amused, and he was probably throughout this whole passage as he met these new disciples of his that were yet to follow him. And he said to them, "Come and see." Now, in the book of Matthew, Jesus adds, "I will make you fishers of men." But John's gospel, which is significantly different from the synoptic gospels, John only wrote certain things that were to highlight the divinity of Jesus. He left off some of the other phrases that the other gospel writers added. So Andrew and Peter, they went to the abode of Jesus. Now, we don't hear a whole lot about what happened that day, but it must have been very special. I'll just let you imagine what it would be like if Jesus said, "Come and see where I live." Wouldn't that be awesome? Actually, Jesus has said, "I will go and make a place for you, that where I am, you will be also." And that's a promise to all of us that we're going to come and see one day. We're going to see exactly where Jesus lives. So it was the next day when they followed him again to the Sea of Galilee. And there Jesus found Philip, who was also from Bethsaida. Bethsaida. And Jesus said, "Follow me." Now, Peter brings another individual named Nathanael. Nathanael declared, "I've had found the one declared by Moses in the law of the prophet." Now, that's what Philip said to Nathanael. And he said, "It's Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." We understand from Deuteronomy 28:25 that Moses had declared that a prophet like me, and this is Moses speaking, would come among the brethren, and then you will listen. Nathanael said, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" And Philip repeated the words to Philip and said, "Come and see." Jesus sees Nathanael, and he begins to interact with him. And he said, "Behold, there is an Israelite in whom there is no guile." Nathanael is surprised and said, "How do you know me?" And Jesus declares, "Before Philip called you when you were under the fig tree, I saw you." Now suddenly revelation comes upon Nathanael, and he switches his attitude. He says, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. You are the awaited Messiah." Jesus, again, perhaps a little bit amused, he answers, "Now because you know that I said I saw you under the fig tree, now you believe." This dialogue is completed with, the words of Jesus, you shall see greater things than these. Verily, verily. Now, whenever Jesus uses verily, verily, this is an indication of something truly important. Verily, verily, I say unto you, hereafter, from this time forward, you will see the heavens open, and angels of God will ascend and descend upon me, the Son of Man. Let us now reflect upon why Nathanael accused with these words, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Well, we understand from Matthew 2:23 that Jesus would come and dwell in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled by the prophets. Again, the touch of the Old Testament, the prophetic word, that he would be a Nazarene. Jeremiah 23:5-6 states further, I will raise unto David a righteous branch, which means the root of Jesse. He will be called the Lord of righteousness. The Hebrew word branch means Nazareth. It is Netzer or NCR. Again, this is the relationship to the word Nazareth because Jesus is a Nazarene. Prophecy fulfilled and emphasized as we understand the meaning and why it's written in just this way. Jesus further opens up with the word another revelatory prophecy that the messenger angels would come upon him. Now, this comes directly out of Genesis 28:12 because Jesus, and we're going to read in chapter 4 of John, sits down upon Jacob's well. Why did he choose Jacob's well? Again, a tie-in to the angels that would ascend and descend. When Jacob, in Genesis 28:12, had found a place that he called Bethel, he had laid his head down upon it, and he fell into a deep sleep. In his sleep, he saw a ladder, and the ladder had angels ascending and descending, messenger angels that would bring revelation of things to come, that Jacob would be one as Isaac, his father, as his grandfather, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the promise of the faith of Abraham was that the followers, the descendants, would be as the stars of the sky and the sands of the earth. What does that mean? The stars would relate to the divinity. The sands relate to the humanity. Amazing revelation, specifically written that way so that we would see there is a divine and there is an earthly inheritance for all of us. We are a part of this. So Jesus comes to Jacob's ladder in himself because he is the ladder, and he appears and he appears and reappears and reappears in generations to come, through the ages to come, as the ladder, as the connector. And he is the divine messenger that will bring the eternal word because Jesus is God. He is the message. He is the sacrificial lamb. He is everything you need for eternal salvation. By his precious blood, the Lamb of God, we are saved. Chapter 1 of John is the beginning of his earthly ministry. Okay, I just hit the button and it's going to be